Hi, this is video number 16. I would like to start off with Michelle's videos and just say that I really like them myself. That she's very, very calming, even for me. I'm well, and she's very calming to me. So I would just like to say thank you to Michelle for doing these. And I've had a lot of comments on her videos, and they're very good. So hopefully she's going to stick around a while. Today, what I would like to talk about is the word healed. Like, what does it mean? I think it means different things to different people. Different people have different expectations of what healed actually is, what wellness is. And along with that goes the word protracted. What it kind of fits in with defining or using descriptors of the word healed. What is protracted? And I would like to talk a little bit about that. And what has caused me to talk about this today is I got an email a couple of days ago from a lady who she's been at this for a lot of months and still pretty sick. And when I answered her email, I didn't answer it directly like to her. I started thinking about this. What does healed mean? And I went into a big long email about that and didn't directly address her concern. She wanted some hope, and in my mind, I felt like I was sort of like dismissing her. So I did apologize to her and send her another email. But what I would like to do is read a little bit of her email, and then I will read actually my email to her and comment on it and so forth, because I spent a lot of time writing an email back to her. So I'll read this and then we'll go from there. Okay, what she wrote was, let me see, I don't want to read the whole thing. I am struggling to keep hope alive. I don't want to scare others who are struggling to make it through their own withdrawal, but would really like to be reassured by someone who took this long to heal that I will recover. I am a member of Benzo Buddies in another group. Would appreciate any thoughts, ideas, or encouragement you can offer. Okay, and after I wrote the first email, and I did write back afterwards, and there was somebody recently on Benzo Buddies who they didn't write their success story, but they're saying that they're healed, and it was 4 years, so I did let her know that, so that was at least something. Okay, anyway, my email back to her was, I know it's discouraging to be out so far and still have problems. I can only speak to my own experience when it comes to this, because I have some opinions based on my own withdrawal that others would probably take issue with. My biggest issue has to do with what healed means, what that word means. What are our expectations when we think of being healed? I often see someone post a success story on Benzo Buddies declaring 100% healing. What does one compare their healed state to? Is it how they were right? Is it how they were right before withdrawal or intolerance withdrawal, or while on the drug, or before even taking a drug? Each one of those is different. To me, 100% healed means not a whole lot, and only serves to create an expectation depending on how one interprets 100% healed. So I've seen it in Benzo Buddies a lot, 100% healed, and I know people are trying to give like big hope to the people who are still suffering. Like, I made it all the way back, and I'm exactly like I was at some point, in my past. But I'm not. But then for those who, I don't know if it's I know a lot, and they often make the distinction. I have no symptoms, like many other people who are on here who say like they still have, and I think they're trying to give lots of hope, and that's good. And I'm not trying to take issue with that. Each one of us heals differently. We get to the end, and we are a certain way, and I can only speak to what I felt. So I'll go on here with this email. When I wrote my success story on Benzo Buddies, I struggled with exactly what success is. Is it 100% healing? If it is, then I have no way of knowing if I was successful. Probably not. Mentally and emotionally, I was light years better than I had been my entire life. Does that mean I was much greater than 100% healed with respect to the mental and emotional part of withdrawal? Physically, I still had the ringing left ear, which I had prior to withdrawal, but it wasn't as loud. I still had some occasional tingling and mild burning sensations. I still had that deep muscle bone discomfort when I would wake up sometimes. I still had a very active mind, which I had trouble slowing down, even though it was thinking normal good thoughts. I could still get overly tired after significant exertion. All of these things were more bothersome than anything. They were a nuisance. They did not impede me in the least, or affect my high level of functionality, or happiness, positive outlook, my level of courage, my contentment, my confidence, my thankfulness, and on and on. My hope for you is this. I am 5 years and 4 months off. I'm very, very happy, positive, fearless. I'm at peace. I'm encouraging. I care for people. I'm joyful. There's many other things that my life is great. I honestly have never felt this good in my entire life, but I do still have some of the physical stuff that I mentioned in the previous paragraph. It is uncomfortable at times, but it's more a matter of being a nuisance and a reminder of what I went through. Some of it I had before I was even on benzos, from the extreme amount of drinking I did. And I had certain symptoms even before I started getting panic attacks and got on all the different psych meds and got on Klonopin for 13 years. The one biggie was, I had the derealization for a really long time, but the burning in the chest, my throat, and so forth. And that was from the drinking. And then some life situations came up that were not good, and then it escalated. So that's something I had for quite some time, and it wasn't from a benzo. It was actually from alcohol. Okay, let me go on here. Okay, I'm speaking to her. You have been off roughly about the same amount of time I have been. I don't know exactly what your symptoms are, but just as my existing sensations are still improving and fading, so will yours. Yours are perhaps different in kind and intensity, and they are. She's still got a lot of the mental, emotional symptoms, a lot of anxiety and I guess fear and depression and so forth. And it's hard for her to, as she said in her email, keeping hope alive, and that's important. To reach out to people is very, very important. There is no reason whatsoever to believe those symptoms won't continue to fade until they are gone. But her remaining symptoms are far greater than the sensations that I have now. They're of more concern to her, and I understand that. Okay, does this mean I have not healed? Not at all. And I will tell you why. If I were given the choice between being exactly like I was in every respect immediately prior to my withdrawal, or even at any point in my life before withdrawal, when I had none of these residual sensations, or being the way I am now, even though I have these residual physical sensations, give me the person I am now. Life feels and is amazing to me ever since all the mental symptoms left me. Even though I have some residual physical stuff, I am happy, joyous, and free. And I know a lot of people hate that phrase, but I like it. And that's from AA too. They use that a lot. Okay, am I in protracted withdrawal? I still have sensations from a central nervous system that was affected by alcohol and benzos. But I also have a CNS that has healed in a way that has made me feel amazingly good and has made me a better human being than I ever would have been otherwise. So what does 100% healed really mean, if anything? What does protracted withdrawal mean, if anything? My expectations and hopes when I was in withdrawal were that I would be able to function easily in life once again and be able to enjoy life without being afraid or bitter, that I would be able to smile and laugh and enjoy others. That is my definition of being well, of being healed, and that's the definition for me. We all probably have a different definition or expectation. Am I 100% healed? Or maybe even more than 100% healed? I don't know. Or am I protracted? I don't know. I still have sensations. They're probably like the combination of benzos and alcohol. I don't know. You could, depending on, we each have a different perception of healing, of wellness. And to me, I'm a happy man. I'm well. I'm more well than I ever was. Okay, what I do know is that I am better than I have ever been in my life. The benefits have far outweighed the costs. Okay, and if you look at it from that perspective right now, the benefits right now for me are like the mental, emotional, which is so much better than it ever was. It outweighs the cost of the physical sensations I have now. Some burning now and then, a little bit of deep muscle pain when I wake up sometimes, the ringing left ear. Still got the very fast, rapid mind that thinks a lot, but I always kind of was that way. And the alcohol, I remember drinking the alcohol. It just slowed my mind down, but that's really not a good way to treat a mind that works so fast. But my mind now, it's fast like it was in withdrawal, but I don't have the depression, the anxiety anymore, so it serves me well. A rapid mind now serves me very well. So that's a good thing. Let me see. Let me finish this up here. Okay, and I know the benefits have far outweighed the cost. I know that will be true for you and everyone who gets to the other side of withdrawal, just as has been true for me and those who told me the same thing when I was in withdrawal. The success stories, many of them would say, you will be amazed at how incredible you feel when this is over, which, it's impossible when you're going through this to believe anything like that, because you just feel miserable. You're suffering terribly. But it is true. It's very true. Okay, and I wrote here the bottom line. For me, I am very well. The remaining sensations I have, and I know that probably troubles some people, that in Don's 5 years and 4 months, I said, and I still have some. They're sensations. It's not pain. It's not horrible. I look at them as kind of like reminders. What I really look at them as is like they're like battle scars. I went through a war. It was horrible. I went through many battles to get to where I am now, and it's like when I feel these sensations, it reminds me I won. I am victorious. I'm the victor. I like vanquished the foe. Even though when I was going through it, I certainly felt weak, but I got to this side and it's good. And even though I have these weird feelings sometimes, it doesn't really matter, because I'm happy. And so the residual sensations for me they're for me. They're my reminder I won. They're kind of like the tattoo. I got a tattoo back in September. It says Benzo Survivor. It has the words happy, joyous, free, and it's got like the bluebird and like 3 monarch butterflies. It's like the homepage, that bird and those butterflies, except I only have 3 of them on my arm. But that's more to let other people know I'm the victor. I won. And I have had people ask me, like, what does that mean? And the greatest, well, it's not a victory, but it's a very positive thing. When I had surgery in the beginning of November, I'm laying on the table, and like the anesthesiologist actually, he looked at my arm and said, Benzo Survivor. And we had a little discussion about that, and that was pretty cool. He understood. Before I had gone into the surgical suite, I had a conversation with him and said, I went through benzo withdrawal. I don't want benzos. I don't need them. I'm very calm. And he agreed. He said, I won't give you that. So we did the propofol, and that's all that he did. Unless he was lying to me, I'm not sure, but I don't think he was. He seemed to understand very well. But the tattoo is for other people. It's like, hey, I won, but the residual sensations, that's more kind of like for me. I won. I know it, and it means something to me. Anyway, so we each heal, and we have our own expectation of like what healing is, what we want to feel like when we get out of this. I know for people who are in it, you want to feel the way you felt before, even though you can't really remember what that was like. It wasn't like this, that's for sure. But I think a lot of people, and that's interesting, when I sent that email to this lady, and she returned an email, and it wasn't, I could tell, I didn't address her email because I got caught up in like lists and like I could talk about this on the video. But for her, I think she said something to the effect, if I can just function again and enjoy life and not be in such misery, that, and I know I'm not, those aren't the exact words, but when you've been at this a really long time, it's like, I just want to kind of like feel normal again. That would be, like heaven compared to this. And that's true. That's true. So we all have our own expectation. And mine was that I would actually be able to live and function normally again, and to have pleasure, to be able to smile and laugh, and to not be afraid all the time. That was a big one. I was afraid for 2 years. It was awful, which I know, you all know about that too. So that's kind of what I have for you today. I'm not really telling you what your expectations should be. Everybody's going to have their own expectation, and I know a lot of people. If I could just be out of this misery, that would be fine, and you will be. It will end. I know it will. Will you have like some sensations like I do at the end? For a long time, I don't know. Some people don't, apparently, and that's great. That's wonderful. But my hope for every one of you is you get to a place where, and I use the phrase again, you're happy, joyous, and free, because when you get to that place, it is good, even though maybe you still have, a few little residual sensations. I don't know, but I promise you'll get there. You survive each day, and eventually you'll get to a place where you say, I feel better, I'm getting well. And that's going to happen. So I will sign off for now. We're close to 17 minutes. I hope you all had a reasonably good Christmas, and I'll talk to you again soon, hopefully.